Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for this virtual coffee and conversation about some important issues. And today I'm really pleased to be joined with my colleague from New Hampshire's congressional delegation, Kuster, as well as
It's
Kevin
great to be
McKeon.
with you.
Yeah, as well as Kevin McKeon, who's from the IRS, who's going to be here to answer some questions that Andy and I have been getting in our offices about these economic stimulus payments that everyone is awaiting. As you know, Andy and I fought to pass the CARES Act legislation now about 10 days ago, which provides critical relief to the American people, to our small businesses, to our workers, to our hospitals. It's really a bridge loan to allow us to get through this tough period, to ensure that we can continue to stay afloat in terms of our household expenses and our business expenses, so that we can come out stronger on the other side. One of the key provisions of the CARES Act are these direct stimulus payments, $1,200 per individuals, $2,400 for joint filers, $500 for children. And we can get into some of the details about when to expect those payments, how to make sure the IRS has the proper information from you all so that you receive these in a timely fashion. We all know that there are immense pressures on the finances of American families today, and we want to make sure that you're able to weather this storm, to stay strong financially, so that we can all get back to life as we knew it, and hopefully do that in a manner where we all recognize that we're in this together. And I think this pandemic has been showing us some of the threats we face, but also some of the decency and goodness that is out there in our communities. And we feel this is one way that we can allow individuals and families to succeed at this tough time. So, Annie, thanks again for joining me on this Facebook Live. And I know you've been hard at work on these issues, and so would love to turn it over to you for some comments.
Super. Thanks, Chris, and thanks for having me to Coffee with Chris. I am so grateful working with you, and we've had some just extraordinarily successful, pardon me, I should have turned everything off. We've had some extraordinarily successful telephone town halls, you and I, with thousands of constituents on the line. We did go down to DC 10 days ago to vote on this CARES Act, and I'm really pleased that these benefits are now starting to roll out. I think the important point, and you said it well, it's a bridge loan to the American people to make sure that folks who may have lost their employment or have struggled with their business closing have the resources they need to weather this economic crisis that's created by COVID-19. So today we're going to talk about the direct payments with Kevin McKeon from the IRS. It's not often we get to thank the IRS. They're also working from home, and we want to appreciate their effort to get these payments in the hands of the American people and granite staters as quickly as possible. I also want to make sure that people know about the resources with the unemployment office at the Department of Employment Services in New Hampshire. If you have been laid off from your job, make sure that you reach out for the unemployment benefits that you deserve, and that we've boosted through the CARES Act with an additional $600 payment per week for the next 4 months till the end of July. We also are working mightily with the Small Business Administration and with our community banks on loans to our small businesses that have had to close their doors with this stay-at-home order. So you can go to our websites that are at the bottom of the crawl here, kuster.house.gov and pappas.house.gov for more information. But today we're focused on the direct payments, and I'm delighted to have Kevin with us. And thanks, Chris, for including me.
Absolutely. No, it's a thrill to be with you. And so, Kevin McKeon from the IRS, if you can hear us, you're on the line. We'd love to hear a little bit more about these economic impact payments and what the people of New Hampshire can expect in weeks.
Yes, thank you, Congressman Pappas, and thank you for letting me on the program. Basically, all of our information that we have available so far on the economic impact payments is on the irs.gov/coronavirus page. And we're going to update that as soon as we get more information. But we're going to, Treasury and IRS, we're going to be distributing the quote-unquote economic impact payments over the next 3 weeks. We're going to begin the distribution distribution of those payments over the next few weeks. And basically, there's no action required for most people. There is some taxpayers, though, who do not typically file returns. They may need to submit a simple tax return to receive the economic impact payment.
That's great. And who's eligible for these payments, Kevin?
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
Yeah, who's eligible for these payments?
Oh, great question. Tax filers with adjusted gross income of up to $75,000 for individuals and up to $150,000 for married couples filing joint returns. Those folks will receive the full payment. For tax filers with income above those amounts, the payment amount is reduced by $5 for each $100 above the $75,000/150,000 threshold. Single filers with income exceeding $99,000 and for joint filers $198,000 with no children are not eligible. Also, Social Security recipients and railroad retirees who are otherwise not required to file a tax return, they are also eligible. And they will not be required to file a return.
Well, that was certainly great news. We were pleased to hear that. I wanted to focus in just so our listeners understand exactly what they need to do. What are the steps that a person needs to do to receive this payment?
Another great question. The vast majority of people will not need to take any action because the IRS will calculate and automatically send the economic impact payments to those eligible. For those folks who've already filed their 2019 tax returns, the IRS will use this information to calculate the payment amount. For people who have not yet filed their return for 2019, the IRS will use information from their 2018 tax filing to calculate the payment. And the payments will be deposited directly into the same bank account reflected on the return filed. Now, if IRS does not have folks' direct deposit information, we've got a setup coming for that where we're developing a web-based portal for individuals to provide their banking information to the IRS online so that individuals can receive payments immediately as opposed to checks in the mail. That web portal is not quite out yet, but it should be out soon, and we'll post that on IRS.gov. Now, for the seniors and the Railroad Retirement Board retirees who are not typically required to file a return, they will receive their payment, and the IRS is just going to go ahead and use the information on the Form SSA 1099 or Form RRB 1099 to generate the payments to those recipients. So they don't need to do anything special.
That's great. Thanks, Kevin.
That's great. One of the questions I've been receiving, Kevin, is, when can individuals expect to receive payments, and is there some kind of an order to how these checks are going to be dispersed? Is it done regionally by income? Those who are most vulnerable, will they be prioritized in terms of the disbursement of these payments?
Another good question, and I don't have all the details yet on, priority of payment. I do know that, we want IRS and Treasury, of course, and everyone really wants to get these payments out as soon as possible. So the quickest way to do it is by direct depositing it to people's bank accounts. And by the way, if there are people who have not filed their tax returns for 2018 or 2019, those folks, they should go ahead and file their return as soon as possible, and they can go on the IRS website where we have the free file program, so where they can input their tax return that way. And the time frame, like I said, within the next 3 weeks, we're going to start getting the payments out. However, the payments will be available throughout the rest of 2020.
So, Kevin, you made a good point. If someone has not yet filed for 2019 And I understand that the date of filing has been extended for the COVID-19 crisis. Can you walk us through that process?
Yes. The April 15th tax deadline has been automatically extended to July 15th. So folks, who have not filed before that deadline don't have to worry about getting it in by the April 15th deadline. They have till July 15th. However, in terms of the economic impact payments, you may want to file your return as soon as possible so that we have the latest information for you. Having said that, if we don't have your 2019 return in already, we'll just go ahead and use your 2018 return. If you don't have both, then I would say, file as soon as you can.
Great. Thanks, Kevin.
Well, that's great. And I know you're providing more information on the IRS.gov website for additional questions that we may not have asked here today that people would like to find out the answers to. But do you have any information about how you might check the status of your payment? If someone's wondering, a month now or a few weeks from now when they're going to receive it, how will they find that information out from IRS?
Yes, I believe we have we're working on a tool that would help people find out, when they might get their payment. And that's not available yet, but I think that's something we're working on. Because as you know, Congressman Pappas, typically we have the Where's My Refund feature for your normal refund. And that's updated as soon as we get the return in, and we kind of give information on when to expect that. So, but I believe we're working on a tool for the EFTs.
Okay, great. And I'm sure that'll be available online once you put it out there. But we appreciate your attention to that. I think people are dealing with a lot of tough issues right now. Obviously, past April 1st when rent was due and bills were due, and so folks are going to be asking questions about when this is available. So I think that tool will be very helpful to folks.
Yes, most definitely. Yeah. And if I could just mention one other thing, because like you say, people are dealing with a lot of difficult situations. And just for people who have owed back taxes and that sort of thing, and maybe they're on installment agreements and stuff with IRS, we have a program for them also, and that's called the People First Initiative. And that is on our IRS.gov coronavirus page. People can get more information about that. It's called People First Initiative.
Great. Well, thank you, Kevin. It sounds like a lot of information available for folks at irs.gov. And it does sound like even the IRS is making room for people that are having difficulties making payments. So check out that People's First program if you do owe payments to the IRS. I think it's important to note that your taxes for 2019, if you haven't filed yet, the date has been extended to July 15th, and that these payments will start, hopefully for most of you, directly to your bank accounts beginning as early as next week. We'll also stay in touch with the IRS to make sure that we're getting information out through our Facebook and newsletters and such to you. And please don't hesitate to give our office a call if there's anything else that is challenging you at this time. We want to be helpful. We want to be here for you. That's what our service is all about. And please take care, stay safe, stay home if you can. We're trying to flatten the curve and make sure that people can stay safe, not bring the COVID-19 virus into their home, into their family. And that if we all do our part with that, and certainly want to thank our frontline workers in the healthcare field and otherwise, we'll be back up and at 'em with our economy and have a great summer here in New Hampshire. So thanks for all you're doing. Thank you, Chris, for including me, and great to be with you as always.
Oh, thanks, Annie. I appreciate your time, and thanks for all your hard work and your energy and passion on behalf of the people of New Hampshire at this tough time. And I want to thank our guest, Kevin, for providing some answers and obviously giving us some additional resources online where we can go to answer these questions. But our office and Annie's office is available anytime constituents have questions. Don't hesitate to reach out. I know we've been receiving number of inquiries about IRS issues, also about unemployment issues. Some people are having a hard time getting through to that state hotline, and the state is doing everything it can to put the resources in place to answer those calls and to pay those claims in a timely fashion. But whatever the issue is, state, federal, we want to hear from you. So please to contact us online or by phone while our offices aren't open physically. We are working 100% capacity remotely right now, and so we are answering your calls. You might have to leave a message first, but we'll get back to you as quickly as we can. Obviously, these next couple of weeks, as the governor has said, as the White House task force has told us, is going to be a really crucial time period. This is going to be hard for us to read the news every day, to watch TV and see what's happening. We think of those frontline workers, especially those who are in healthcare right now, who are doing heroes work, really taking care of people under such tough circumstances, really putting themselves at risk, putting their own families at risk to try to care for those who are sick. This is how we're going to get through this, and we all have a role to play. So by continuing to stay home, by social distancing, by doing our part, not to be interacting with others, we're going to allow ourselves to lower this curve to ultimately save lives and come out of this sooner and stronger. So we will continue to stay in touch with you all. I think this is a great forum to stay connected, especially during this time where we can't be with you in person. But please do call in our offices if there's anything that we can do. And we'll try to provide pertinent updates in the future about, this IRS payment issue, but other things that are coming up that we're very curious about. So everyone stay safe, protect yourselves. We are all in this together. And I think if we continue to be pulling in the same direction, New Hampshire and our country is going to come out of this stronger and with a renewed sense of common purpose about all the issues that we face that touch us all. So stay safe out there, and thanks everyone for joining us here today.
Thanks, Chris. Great to be with you.
Bye-bye.